about the world's largest land mammals. The elephants in danger gonna blow out like a candle. In the wild they like to roam 30 miles a day, but there's just nowhere to go when you're trapped in a cage. They form a natural habit and self-destruct, while the Oregon Zoo sits back and collects the bucks. If you want to give your children a good education, skip the zoo and teach them about animal liberation!
We're out here today to stand in solidarity with 7 elephants that are housed here at the Oregon Zoo. We want an off-site preserve so Packy can have some choices about how he spends his day. And the other 6 elephants that are with him. 1.5 acres is not enough room to house 7 elephants. Well, Packy's been here isolated for 49 years. And we don't even do that to child rapists. So this really needs to be changed.
I saw this elephant standing all alone in a cage so far away from a place he once called his home. If I'm the link in between, who's supposed to ease their pain? I have to find a better way to change the cruelty that remains. What do you do when elephants cry? Do you just keep walking on by?
We spend thousands and thousands of dollars in foot care for these animals who still die prematurely due to joint arthritis and foot rot.
We got Tina a few years back from a tiny zoo up near Vancouver, and she was born here. And she died in her early 30s from foot rot.
We're not here to make anybody feel bad for bringing their kids or anything like that. What we want to do, though, is remind the public that the elephants here are suffering. You can see confinement anxiety. In dogs, we call it kennel stress. But a lot of the animals here at the zoo, the polar bears famously are just insane here. And the elephants too, they do that pacing thing and they bob their heads back and forth. They know what it is. It's a classical symptom of insanity brought about by constant confinement. This particular zoo, you know, In Defense of Animals has noted that they're one of the 10 worst zoos for elephants. I don't think that, you know, the people here aren't bad people worse than anywhere else. It's just there's a lack of understanding about what the needs of these animals are, and there's a lack of empathy for them as living beings.
And why are you here today?
To get people to start thinking about how the elephants are being abused.
You go into the zoo quite often?
No, we stopped when a while ago because we started reading about the conditions that they were in.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's okay for elephants to be in zoos at all, or do you think they're too big?
They're too big to be in zoos at all.
Want to give your children a good education, skip the zoo and teach them about animal liberation!
Tell us what your experience is working at the Tennessee Sanctuary.
I was a caregiver to 3 African girls there, Tangi, Zula, and Flora, for 2.5 years, 2 years from 2004 to 2006, and just saw a lot of elephants come into the sanctuary who were previously from zoos and circuses that came to us in very bad shape and suffered foot disease and emotional disorders, psychological problems, and we were much, much happier there. They have 2,800 acres for them to roam. They are free. It's you know, positive reinforcement, operant conditioning. They don't have ancuses. They don't do any force training, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful place where they can be free and heal.
You know, have you been inside our zoo to see the elephants here?
I came here once and watched them for a short amount of time, and I actually left in tears. I have not been back. I wish that they would get on board with a lot of other progressive zoos that are actually closing down their elephant exhibits. Release them all to a sanctuary, stop the breeding, and stop them, stop having them in the zoo as an exhibit. That's what I would really like to see. And I think that Portland is such a progressive city. I'm really shocked that there isn't more support for that.
We had the opportunity here in Portland in 2008 to vote for a bond measure that in part was going to provide the money to build an off-site preserve for the elephants. That was 3 years ago. Here we are in 2011, and there is no off-site preserve. There's supposedly land that's been optioned, but there's no timeline for when this preserve will be created. Furthermore, the zoo director has told us she will never let Packy go, and in fact, at first told us she will never let any of the elephants go. So right now we'd like to find out exactly what's going on and educate the public as to what is really going on with their tax dollars, because they voted for this and they're not getting their money's worth. I know a lot of people really love the elephants. That's why they come. It's a big money maker for the zoo. So I don't think they really are aware of how much they're suffering. And so if I can get people to even go and watch the elephants, not just walk by, not just go to the concession stand, but really stand there and watch how they pace and bob, I think they will get a different picture of what the elephants are really going through, because they're very highly intelligent, complex, and social beings. And their needs are not being served here at the zoo, and they can't be. They just don't have the space to do it. Packy's 49, Tusco's 39, Rama's 28. You know, they're not going to live to be 100. So we really need to get some idea when these elephants are going to go and to what kind of facility.
Born to be free, Oregon Zoo, let Packy be! Oregon Zoo! Say Packy!